I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today. Oh my god, why am I talking like that? I forgot the camera was on. Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about Ana Huang's new book, Twisted Hate. This shit was so good. Let me just start off by saying that. And also, must I add, Ana Huang is really progressing as a writer. Like, Twisted Hate, if you don't know, is the third book to an ongoing series called the Twisted series, but they're all standalone romances. This is the third book, so the first book was Twisted Love, which I put a video out on. The second book is Twisted Games, and this third book is Twisted Hate. This was a new release, it just came out, and this book follows Josh. Oh my god, he is so dreamy. He is the brother to Ava from the first book. Because the first book in Twisted Love follows Ava and her relationship with Alex. Twisted Hate follows Josh Chen and Jules Ambrose. These two people, it's an enemies with benefits love story. So it's kind of like enemies to lovers, but it's like enemies who hate each other, but they have like a friends with benefits, and then they fall in love. So there's like a little twist on that. I loved this book out of the whole series. Out of the three, this one is the best one. And I think that with every single book, Ana Huang is becoming a favorite writer for me. Like, she's really progressing with the way that she's writing these, because I didn't really like Twisted Love at all. And I have a whole video about that. Twisted Games, I liked a lot more. Definitely a lot more. And it felt more slow burn, and the relationship in that one progressed really well. And Twisted Hate was my favorite of the series. I loved this one a lot more than the first two. And the smut in this one, because they all are smutty books, this one had the best smut in my opinion. This had the most adorable hero, Josh Chen. Oh my god, he is so dreamy. I love him so much. The banter in this was A1. It was just so good. So it's a dark romance, right? This whole series are dark romance series. But the thing about Twisted Hate is that it gives me, I feel like every single video I say this, but this one really does give me rom-com vibes, except very, very smutty and very like kinky smut. Because of the banter, because of the tropes that are used. There's the one bed trope, the brother's best friend trope. There's like a lot of funny, witty things about this book that really give off that rom-com energy. And then once they hit the bed, it's like, I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5. There was just so many moments in this that I loved. Josh, he's so thoughtful. Like, Jules and Josh are just kind of meant for each other, and I did have flaws with this book. So let me just start off by saying that these two people, Jules and Josh, Jules is Ava, Josh's sister's best friend. So this is like a brother's best friend romance, and then one day they hate each other, right? One day they can't get over this like sexual chemistry that they have, so they have sex. They just like can't stay away from each other. Their chemistry is off the charts, and they're just really good at having angry sex with each other. So they make this little proposition, and the proposition goes, oh, we'll have like a enemies with benefits type of relationship. The thing is that we have little rules. So always wear protection, we won't fall in love, won't get jealous, etc., etc. Like, they have all these rules. Obviously they break them all. That's like how it goes, right? It's kind of how the relationship starts. It also kind of starts off with a close proximity type of thing, because they both work at the same place. Jules is a lawyer, or she wants to be a lawyer, and she's gonna take the bar soon. And Josh, he's a doctor, and he's in his residency, and so they both work at the same clinic or same hospital for the summer. And so they make this deal right before they get into that enemies with benefits relationship, that they'll be very civil with each other in the office, because they hate each other and they just like talk shit to each other all the time. So they make that little proposition, and then that's when it gets to enemies with benefits. And then once they hit enemies with benefits, Next thing you know, they start falling for each other. They just have all of these small moments where they're bonding and they're really connecting and they're there for each other at their lowest. And this is the thing that I really like about this book, is that they mention it a lot, that the reason why they fall for each other, or that they're meant for each other, is because each of them have seen each other at their worst, right? They are the worst to each other. They do the worst things to each other. But at least them being the worst to each other is the most real that each of them have ever had, which I love. Like, I just love that. The whole like conflict of this is that Jules has a secret, that she changed her name because she used to be like a thief. Her mom never really loved her. She was never anybody's first choice. So as the story progresses, the fact that Josh is her first choice and that Josh chooses her, like, it just makes the relationship and the dynamic between them like so much more wholesome and so much more compatible. This is the thing that I didn't like about the story, is that what breaks them up is that Jules tells the truth to Josh finally. So the whole conflict is that Jules has this whole like, there's like a sex tape of her when she was younger, because she used to be a con artist with her ex-boyfriend, and her ex-boyfriend told Jules to like sleep with this other guy, and that other guy made a sex tape with her, and now her ex-boyfriend comes back into her life 7 years later and holds the sex tape over her head. It's really complicated and I'm kind of lazy to get into it, but yeah, the whole time, like, her ex-boyfriend within this story, Jules' ex-boyfriend comes back into her life, Max, and he threatens her, he blackmails her, and tells Jules, I'm gonna ask you for a favor, and you better do this favor for me or else I'm gonna release the sex tape. And the thing that Max makes her do affects Josh. So what she has to do is steal something from Josh's. And she doesn't tell Josh any of this because she's afraid of what he might say. She's afraid of what Josh might think. Next thing you know, she deals with all of this, etc., etc. The story goes on. And then the third act conflict is that she comes clean to Josh about her life, about her past, because she wants to start fresh. She wants to be with Josh together in a relationship. They're falling for each other. They love each other. And she is like, I just have to tell him the truth, because he has to love me like all of me, and tells him the truth. And the way that Josh handles it, that's the one thing that I did not like about this book, was that the way he handled it, it seemed like such a 360 to who Josh was. I understand that in Josh's past, he's been lied to. He's been through this whole thing in the first book. How his dad lied to him, his best friend Alex lied to him, etc., etc. The one thing that he loved about Jules was that Jules was always honest with him and always told him the truth. So the fact that Jules had this huge secret that she never told Josh really hurt him, and he uses sex as a way to punish her, but not in like a good punishment type of way, in like a bad way, and he was just being really cruel. And I don't know, it just seemed too extra. I was like, you are really hitting Jules where it hurts, Josh. Like relax a little bit. I did not like the way he handled that. But other than that, yeah, I really loved this book. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. There's just so many wholesome scenes. There's a bookshop scavenger hunt. Josh, besides that, we're gonna ignore how Josh handles the third act conflict. But the way that Josh shows his affection and shows his love, he is an acts of service type of man. So he has this whole like book scavenger hunt type thing for like Jules's first date with him. Is it the first date? I don't know. But yeah, it was so cute. They have rules that they're not supposed to sleep over each other's house when they're having this like enemies with benefits relationship, and she accidentally sleeps over, and he cooks for her, but he tries to hide the fact that he cooks for her by saying like he cooks for himself, but you can have my leftovers, like, you know, being like snide and cool. And he barely touches his food and he's like, here, you can have the rest. But I was like, boy, you literally just cooked for her. I'm noticing about what I like about romance men is I realize I think I like cocky men in romance books. Josh, he is so cocky. He gives me Garrett Graham energy in that way, and I'm like, do I have a thing for cocky guys in books? Like, do I just love a cocky man? I don't know. The thing I like about this too is that Josh is Asian. Asian women are fetishized a lot in media and in general, but Asian men aren't seen as really handsome, attractive guys when in fact they are very desirable. And I love that we have a main character who is Asian and he's seen as desirable, and he's fucking hot. Like, he's so hot. Anyway, oh my god, why did I say it like that? Anyway, I am so sorry. Like, he is just, I love him so much. I wish I had him. I wish I had a man like him. But we can dream, right? Another cute scene was when Josh, he had this whole trip to go to Australia on his days off. But he cancels his trip to Australia to go comfort Jules in Ohio because Jules finds out that her mom passed away and Josh just wants to be with her. It's so cute. Anyways, I love this book. I think you should just read it. See for yourself. I think it's the best out of the three. It's just so cute. There's just so many cute things about it. It's definitely cliche. There's a lot of cliches in this book, and it's very predictable, but I will say it's still a really good read. It's so predictable. It's still a good read. It's so entertaining to watch. I completely devoured it. And it's self-aware. Like, the one-bed trope feels self-aware, and the way that the internal dialogue and the internal thought process of, because it's in first person, and it's a dual POV, Jules and Josh, the internal thought process of these two characters, I love when they say, like, I know I'm being irrational, and they explain that they know when they're being stupid. Their internal thought process is the same as a reader. When you're reading it, you're like, why are they being so stupid? And then they'll say, I know I'm being stupid. And it just makes so much sense, you know? Like, I just love how self-aware that is. I think Jules and Josh are definitely a couple that are meant to be. They just have so much fire together, and their chemistry is off the charts. There's so much back and forth, and the banter, you don't lose it even after they're together. Like, they're still talking shit to each other, they're still talking insults at each other, but at the same time there's that sense of love there, and this couple is just so perfect. Like, I really, really loved this couple, and I really, some of those smut scenes, I'm so sorry, they live rent-free in my head. Like, this was good. Like, angry sex? It was so good. Anyways, that's all I'll say. Please let me know your thoughts about this book if you've read it. It is a new release, but I do recommend it. Out of the whole Twisted series, it was my favorite. It was the most cute. It was the easiest to read. I did feel like there were a little bit of pacing problems towards the end-ish. I felt like it was dragging, and it's definitely a very long book. It was 500 pages. And most romance books are around 300, so you get an extra 200 pages. So I would say that Ana Huang is also becoming kind of a slow burn romance author, because these books are kind of dense, and they're getting denser throughout. But honestly, it goes by so quickly. You read those 500 pages pretty quickly. Yeah, I really loved this book. I thought it was the best of the three. It felt different than the first two as well. Twisted Love and Twisted Games, I feel like the dialogue felt kind of copy and pasted. I remember saying in my video about Twisted Games how it felt like there were some lines where it just felt like, didn't Alex say that in the first book? And then I hear Reese say it in the second. This felt really distinct and different from the other two books, so I really liked that. I think Ana Huang is kind of finding her voice and her style, even though she's written a lot of other books, I believe. I just feel like now she's really getting her footing, and I really cannot wait until Twisted Lies comes out, because I just have a feeling that I will eat that shit up. But anyways, I really liked this book. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love having a dialogue. I love having a conversation about this. And yeah, if you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe if you can. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.